because I've been hearing this a lot lately that the Nationals haven't drafted and developed well. Obviously, Mike Rizzo's what he got back for the Soto trade was phenomenal. I mean, you got three likely over the course of their career all-stars for one dude, all under team control, all that stuff. But a lot of people want to hear about Elijah Green, right? There's these draft picks that just haven't really hit. We'll see if maybe Hassel hits. There's a lot of guys down in the minors. Apparently, they're on the upswing. But so Ken Rosenthal's probably a Schefter equivalent in baseball. I mean, he's always wearing that bow tie. But I mean, he wields a big stick when it comes to baseball analysis. He writes for The Athletic, and I think he does TV for Fox. I hope I'm not wrong about that. Rosenthal wrote a column, Nationals remain among MLB's bottom feeders despite lengthy rebuild. I'm going to read a little bit of this. When identifying baseball's perennial bottom feeders, the Colorado Rockies come immediately to mind, with the Pittsburgh Pirates, Chicago White Sox, and Miami Marlins also in the conversation. The Washington Nationals belong too. Since winning the 2019 World Series, the Nationals rank third in the majors in losses, 1 behind the Pirates, 14 behind the Rockies. At 24-29 this season, they're on pace to avoid their 5th straight 90-loss campaign, barely. Ownership's lack of investment is partly to blame. The Nationals opened with a top 10 payroll 7 out of 8 seasons between 14 and 21, but in the past 3 years have averaged in the bottom 10. A perhaps even bigger problem is the team's failures in player development, as well as amateur and international scouting going back more than a decade. Failures that President of Baseball Operations Mike Rizzo's spectacular return for Juan Soto at the 2022 trade deadline can mask only so much. Good teams both spend and develop. The Nationals do neither. All right. Some strong language there.
I understand that, but I think the blame goes more to the people that control the money than they do to the guy that makes the decision.
I think our stance is pretty damn clear on that. You will not hear Rizzo slander on this program. I think he's great at what he does. I think the baseball draft is a bigger crapshoot than any of them. One thing I take great, I think is a really, I don't want to say dishonest, but a misrepresentation of facts. To say the Nats open with a top 10 payroll in 7 out of 8 seasons between 14 and 21, but in the past 3 years have averaged in the bottom 10, that's accurate. But year after year after year, they were letting stars walk away.
Yeah.
Young stars that they drafted, they developed, they let them go.
Yeah.
That is different than just spending and not spending.
Didn't they develop Juan?
Certainly.
Didn't they develop Bryce?
Yeah.
So
Trey Turner.
Yeah, and then with Steven Strasburg was damn good.
Unfortunately, they just kept, that was the one dude they kept paying. Rendon, they let go.
So to say that they don't draft well and develop, it's a lie. Because those guys are on other teams and they were developed on this team.
They traded for Turner but developed him. They drafted Bryce. They signed, I think, with international guys, it might be different that you sign them rather than draft them. But I just think it's a little disingenuous to just say, oh, they used to spend, now they don't. They also let their own guys walk. And at least Rizzo had the balls to tell the learners, yo, we got to trade Soto because I know you're just going to let him walk. Like if they had here's the reality. If they had traded Turner and Harper and Rendon, they would have had a way better farm system.
Yeah.
But they were trying to chase a title. Then the learners pulled the plug on spending.
Yeah.
So I think that is a very, very relevant facet in all this. But let's let Mike speak for himself. Mike Rizzo on with the Junkies this morning, number 2 landfill, where he directly addresses the Rosenthal column.
I mean, ownership is shown that when they feel that we're ready to win, they spend, and I've never had a problem with that. Hopefully that continues, and I think that the day's coming that we're going to be in a position to win, and to show support. That means buying some free agents and that type of thing. But it's also we went for it in a different way back in the first rebuild, and let us not forget we've done this before. Ken and the other journalists can point out, the flaws of how we're doing this rebuild. It's taking too long and that type of thing. But the one thing they can point to us and not point to hardly any other teams around is we've rebuilt from the bottom up when MLB owned this thing to winning a championship, and we did it in 13 years from start to a championship. And we're, unfortunately had to rebuild again, and we're rebuilding now. It's taken, it's since the Soto trade, it's been 2-3 years of a rebuild, which is painful, and we all know that. But if Ken or anybody else can't see where this organization is as far as talent base and that type of thing, then I don't know what to tell anybody. The fans see it, the players see it, the opposing team, the opposition team sees it, and they see the talent and that type of thing.
Like what I take from that, look, now I'm with Rizzo, but the problem is you don't build a team one way. Okay. There are a lot of teams in all sports that may go with nothing but free agents and trades. There are teams that only really care about the draft. The great ones do it. They do a little bit of each. He's done that. He's built it. But when you're handcuffed by your ownership, that's going to be a problem. And when you say, oh, they don't draft and whatever, well, when I get the chance to go draft somebody and they build up to become a Soto or a Harper, and then we want to keep them around, and ownership say, nah, we're not going to pay him. I got to let him go. Other stars look at it and say, I'm not signing with that team. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's easy to just narrow it down to one thing if that was the only way that people build teams. But you build teams by more than just draft. It may be the best way to do it, but it's probably the toughest way to get it done, especially in baseball.
Well, and because they were good for a while, a lot of those draft picks were not top 10s. They were kind of middle of the road. Yeah. Rizzo defended his draft record as well. This is Rizzo number 1, Landini.
Picking, you could pick out certain draft choices and picks and that type of thing over the last years, and you could find some faults there. But when I look at we've run some of the great players in the game through our system. We've drafted some of the great players ever. We've drafted guys low in the draft that have won Cy Youngs and that type of thing. So there's. I just thought the timing of the article was odd because we were playing good, and we really are seeing the fruits of this frustrating rebuild coming to fruition. But I'm still optimistic. The needle of this team and this organization is pointed north, and it's going to continue to do so until we start winning championships, which I think is in the very near future.
I hope he's correct. I don't think he'll be proven correct until ownership spends money again. Mm-hmm. I don't know enough, but I think when you get a national guy writing something like this, I at times wonder kind of where
it came from,
just where the push came from. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if you look at the Nats right now,
well, people begin to knock the Nats for not spending, and we know one thing. A lot of writers don't want to piss off ownership.
Dude, to possibly equate the Rockies with the Nats right now, the Nats are 6 games below 500. Okay, they're 24-30. The Rockies are 9-46. Like, is that really worth pointing out similarities over the last 4 or 5 years? Not only that, but the Rockies have looked far more haphazard in whatever it is they're doing. Mm-hmm. It seems oddly direct. It's like I pointed out when there was that.
It looked like a hit job.
The first article I saw, I think it was Mike Silver out in San Francisco, pointing out how Kyle Shanahan was the one that wanted to sign him Brandon Ayuk, and that the front office wasn't exactly sure. Like, whenever you start to see those types of articles where there's a little bit of a fracture, you wonder who or what is behind it.
Who started it?
And I firmly will stand on this flag. Rizzo is not the problem. Rizzo is the answer. He's proven it. There's a proven track record. And I just, if you want to be frustrated that the team stinks and has for a while now, not incorrect. I think pointing those arrows at Mike Rizzo is incredibly inaccurate.